It was a night that started like any other family gathering, the kind we'd all attended countless times. My sister Amara had thrown a small celebration for her youngest, Emily, who had just turned 18. The house buzzed with the familiar sounds of chatter, laughter, and the clinking of silverware as guests helped themselves to slices of cake and refilled their drinks. Emily, always the quiet kid, had blossomed over the past year into someone taller, more confident, and surprisingly charming. She moved through the crowd, thanking people for their gifts, while my husband, Mark, was in the living room with my brother-in-law, sipping beers and debating football. Seeking a moment of calm, I slipped into the kitchen, a warm and comforting space with big windows that let sunlight spill in, making everything feel serene. I busied myself washing dishes, the hum of conversation muffled behind the walls. As I dried my hands and glanced around, I heard footsteps. Turning, I saw Emily at the door, her smile almost shy. I teased her about being the birthday girl, giving her arm a playful nudge as she leaned against the counter. She admitted the attention was overwhelming, and I noticed something different about her. Her eyes lingered a little longer, her stance a bit closer than usual. I brushed it off, attributing it to her growing up. We chatted about her plans after high school, her summer job at a coffee shop, and her hopes for college, but there was an odd tension in the air. I ignored it, thinking I was imagining things. As we prepared to rejoin the party, Emily's voice softened, asking if she could tell me something. Her serious expression made my heart race. She confessed she'd been in love with me for a while, her words hitting like a shock wave. My breath caught, the room's sounds fading to a dull hum. This couldn't be real. Emily, my niece, the girl I'd babysat and helped with homework, was saying she loved me. I stammered, telling her she was confused, that this was wrong. I was her aunt, for heaven's sake, and we were both women, something I'd never explored. But Emily didn't waver, her eyes intense with sincerity, insisting she knew what she felt. I stepped back, putting the counter between us, urging her to move on, that she was like a daughter to me. Her expression clouded with pain, and though I felt a pang in my chest, I knew this had to stop. I thought that would be the end of it, that she'd take time to process and we'd return to normal. I was wrong. The next few days were strange. Emily, usually a frequent visitor, vanished. Her absence left an odd emptiness, but I convinced myself it was for the best. Maybe she was embarrassed or needed space. A week later, my phone buzzed with a text from her. "Can we talk? Please." My heart thudded, but against my better judgment, I agreed to meet the next day at 7. The day dragged with nervous anticipation. Mark, oblivious, was out watching a game, leaving me alone when Emily arrived. She wasn't the unsure girl from the kitchen. Her posture was confident, her gaze steady, sending a shiver down my spine. We sat in the living room, the silence heavy. She admitted she'd tried to forget her feelings but couldn't. I tried to interrupt, to stop the conversation, but she pressed on, insisting she wasn't a child and knew what she wanted. I told her it was impossible, she was family, and this would destroy everything. But she claimed I felt something too, pointing to my hesitation in the kitchen. I backed away, trembling as she closed the distance, her fingers brushing my arm. The softness in her touch froze me. She whispered she wasn't asking for anything, just needed me to know. The tension was unbearable, and in a moment of weakness, I kissed her. It was brief, but when we paused, emotions exploded. We kissed again, deeper, and she admitted it was her first time with a woman. Then, abruptly, she pushed me away, panic in her eyes, saying she couldn't do this. She fled, leaving me trembling on the couch, the door slam echoing like a gunshot. I knew it wasn't over. The following days were a blur of guilt and confusion. Every phone buzz or knock made my heart race, expecting Emily. Mark noticed my distraction, asking if I was okay. I brushed it off as work stress, guilt gnawing at me for hiding the truth from him. Family gatherings grew awkward. Emily and I barely spoke, but every glance felt charged. At a casual barbecue at Amra's, I escaped to the kitchen for a drink, thinking I was alone. The door creaked, and Emily appeared, her eyes unreadable. She said we needed to talk, ignoring my protest that it wasn't the time. She'd tried to move on but couldn't, her words raw with emotion. I insisted she was confused, but she stepped closer, saying she didn't care what was right anymore, only that she loved me. Her hand brushed mine, and I flinched, the warmth lingering. I begged her to stop, but the intensity in her eyes made it hard to think. Mark's voice interrupted, calling me from the hallway. I stepped away, grabbing a water bottle to hide my trembling hands, claiming we were discussing Emily's college plans. Mark's suspicion flickered, but he left. Emily watched me with an intensity that unnerved me, but I walked away, knowing things were far from resolved. Weeks passed, and I couldn't shake Emily's words. One night, past midnight, my phone pinged with another message from her, asking to meet at 3 the next day. I hesitated but agreed, knowing avoidance wouldn't resolve anything. When she arrived, the air was thick with tension. She admitted she couldn't pretend to be okay, couldn't move on. I urged her to let go, that acting on her feelings would destroy our family. She challenged me to deny feeling anything that night in the kitchen. I wanted to lie, to end it, but the truth slipped out. I had felt something, a fleeting excitement I couldn't explain. Her face softened with desire, and before I could stop myself, I kissed her again, pulling her close. This time, we didn't hold back. My hands moved through her hair, and we went further than before, a blur of excitement and wrongness. I'd never been with a woman, but in that moment, it felt intoxicating. Afterward, on a couch, reality crashed in. I told her it was a mistake, that no one could know. She insisted she was in love, wanting more, but I said I didn't. She whispered, "Okay," turning away, her shoulders tense. After a long silence, she vowed to try moving on, though she didn't know how long it would take. I promised she'd find someone who could love her properly. As she stared out the window, she whispered, "I'll always love you, Aunt Jennifer." Tears stung my eyes, but I walked away, leaving her behind, knowing the weight of that night would linger, a secret we'd both carry, forever unresolved.